Why U.S. docks warships nuclear submarine in Caribbean? Hello and welcome to this edition
War
of
in the
World
Caribbean
at War.
Sea.
7 U.S. warships, along with 1 nuclear-powered fast attack submarine,
are being
moved to the South Caribbean, along with more than 4,500 sailors and American Marines. The United States has not indicated
as
publicly
to what
exactly this American military mobilization is, but the Trump administration has said it can now use the U.S. military to go after the drug cartels and criminal groups, and has directed the Pentagon to prepare options. Earlier this month, the United States had doubled the bounty of the Venezuelan president
Nicolas
Maduro to $50 million, accusing the Venezuelan president of being one of the biggest narco traffickers in the world. The American president has said that combating drug cartels is a central goal of his administration. This time around, but the Venezuelan
Nicolas
president
Maduro
has denounced this American mobilization, slamming the mobilization as an act of an imperial power. Maduro has said that no empire will be able to touch the sacred soil of Venezuela. But what really is the United States up to? Is this military mobilization to crack down on drug trafficking, as the Trump administration claims, or is the Maduro government in Caracas the real target of this American military buildup in South Caribbean? Now next pod get you more details. Maduro's reign of terror continues. He is one of the largest narco traffickers in the world. On August argued that American warship docked the Panama Canal, armed to the teeth. This menacing American warship has been brought to the Southern Caribbean with a purpose. In total, there will be 7 U.S. warships, along with 1 nuclear-powered fast attack that submarine, are already either in the region or are expected to be there pretty soon. And along with this, an estimated 4,500 sailors and marines will also be stationed in the region. But the purpose of this warship and this many American Marines in the region is not clear. On the face of it, the stated American agenda is a crackdown on illicit drug trafficking. But in Caracas, this American mobilization has sparked some serious concerns about America's real intentions. New Street diplomacy, known as ally diplomacy, is not narrow diplomacy of threats, because the world cannot be 100 years ago again. The gunboat diplomacy: I have so many cannons, so many ships, and I put them in front of you, and you surrender or do what I feel like making you do. No, that's over. It is over. Our diplomacy is the diplomacy of dignity, the Bolivarian diplomacy of peace. Our diplomacy comes from Bolivar. From Chavez, it is a high-level, refined and admired diplomacy. What is ultimate character of the American intentions is that on August, the United States doubled the bounty on the Venezuelan president's head from $25 million to $50 million. Under international law, one sovereign nation placing a bounty on the leader of another sovereign nation is deemed to be a serious violation of several norms, such as sovereign equality of nations and non-interference in each other's internal affairs. A bounty of $15 million was first put on Nicolas Maduro, and the U.S. prosecutors had charged Maduro for drug trafficking. In January 2025, the bounty was increased to $25 million, before it was doubled to $50 million in August this year. Today, the Department of Justice and State announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Sun to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country. Today, the D has seized 30 tons of cocaine linked to Maduro and his associates, with nearly 7 tons linked to Maduro himself, which represents a primary source of the deadly cartels based in Venezuela and Mexico. Cocaine is often laced with fentanyl, resulting in the loss and destruction of countless American lives. Venezuela's defense minister Vladimir Pedrino Lopez has slammed the United States, condemning the American bounty on Nicolas Maduro as a desperate Hollywood-style act of interference. Estes fantasizes this fanciful, illegal, and desperate offers in the best style of a Hollywood Western represent yet another act of internal interference that flagrantly violates international law and the principles of self-determination of people. Those same immoral people are trying to see that our commander-in-chief is a drug, that the Minister of Defense is a drug trafficker. It is disrespectful to the people of Venezuela. Experts have pointed out that the American naval build-up in South Caribbean will not disrupt the narco-trafficking into the United States. As much of the seaborne drug trade travels to the United States by the Pacific and not the Atlantic, where the U.S. forces and much of what arrives by the Caribbean comes through clandestine flights. Venezuelan officials believe that their government is the real target. Nicolas Maduro has now vowed to deploy as many as 4.5 million trained military men across the country to ensure that there is no trouble that is sparked internally. Maduro has regularly accused the opposition of conspiring with U.S. entities such as the CIA to topple his government in Venezuela. Simultaneously, the Venezuela-Colombia border has also come alive. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has deployed over 25,000 troops to strengthen security in the Catatumbo region along the border between the two nations, while Venezuela has announced that it will deploy about 15,000 soldiers on its side of the border. For now, though, an uneasy calm prevails in Caracas. The United States is increasing its military mobilization in Southern Caribbean, and no one can at this moment predict what the real American intention is. On August 4th, the al-Qaeda-linked jihadist group, Jamaat Nasratul Islam wal Muslimin al-Jam, that is active in West Africa's Sahara region, to have taken over the strategic town of Farabougou in central Mali. The siege of Farabougou, a symbolic development claimed on JNIM's propaganda platform. Al-Zalah comes nearly a week after the jihadists seized the town's military camp. Following the jihadist attack on the camp, one of the largest in the region, the army was forced to withdraw. Reportedly, the local elected officials of Farabougou, who fled the town following its capture by the jihadists, attested to the fact that the town is now under JNIM's control. Our next podcast, you more details. Billy kiss him, Billy kiss him. The impoverished West African nation has been wrestling with insecurity since early year. Al-Qaeda and Islamic State linked as well as self-declared defense forces have wreaked Mali for more than a decade, accusing the government of failing not to do enough to quell the insurgency. The military had seized power following two coups in August 2020 and May 2021. But repeated jihadist attacks in the embattled nation has put question marks on the military's ability in insurgents. The security situation remains precarious, and attacks from extremist groups linked with Al-Qaeda have intensified in recent months. The town of Farabougou, which fell to jihadists, is some 400 km north of the capital Bamako, and is of strategic significance given its central position in the Segu region. It boasted of one of the largest military camps in the region. But following last week's capture by jihadists, the military has not intervened locally since then, and it was only a matter of time before the strategic town fell to the jihadists. Considering the flow of information is usually restricted under the ruling junta, the precise scale of the captured targets, means used, and human toll is unclear. Given the absence of army, some residents of the besieged town were reportedly in favor of returning home. Despite the prospect of living under jihadist rule, once back, the returnees will have to pay a tax to the GNA and accept its rules. Notably a ban on secular music, as well as on cigarettes and alcohol. Women will not be allowed to venture out of without covering their heads. It is to be noted that under the leadership of junta leader Assimi Goïta, Mali broke a long-standing alliance with European partners and former colonial powers, and brought in Russia's Wagner group to help fight the jihadists. But there is no sign of the insurgency ending. Instead, Assimi Goïta consolidated his own power by granting himself an additional 5 years in June this year. Despite the junta's earlier promises of a return to civilian rule by March 2024. The move comes on the heels of the military's dissolution of political parties. On 16th of August, Mali's security minister announced that the military had arrested military and civilians, including 2 million generals and a suspected French agent accused of attempting to destabilize the country. The transitional government informs the national public of the arrest of a small group of marginal elements from the merely unarmed and security forces criminal offenses aimed at destabilizing the institutions of the republic. This comes at a time when the Malian united in all its components is mobilized to consolidate or regain sovereignty and eradicate the obscurantist terrorist forces of the Confederation of These military and civilians had no other ambition than to seek with the help of foreign states to disrupt the momentum of Mali's rebuilding. Providing few details about the alleged plotters, the security minister had assured the audience that a full investigation was underway and the situation was under control. Gristle professionalism. Thanks to the professionalism and vigilance of the specialized services, the conspiracy was thwarted, followed by the arrest of the actors on August 2024. Among those apprehended was a French national, Venezuelan Yan, acting on behalf of the French intelligence service, who mobilized political leaders, civil society actors, and military personnel, including Brigadier Generals Dambo and Nima Sogara. The repeated attacks by the jihadists have dented the strong image of junta leader Assimi Goïta, who rather embarrassingly had claimed that his army had considerably weakened terrorist groups at a time when the Malian military has pledged to regain control of the entire country. The capture of a strategic town like Farabuku has put a big question mark on such post.